If you're on Letterboxd and caring, you already have lost.
Yes, yeah. Um,
If you write your thing out in notes and then you copy and paste it into Letterboxd, you've lost immediately.
you're not doing anything right. Um, we are gonna read some Letterboxd reviews that we find comical, hilarious, insane, whatever. There's already a Twitter account called Insane Letterbox. So if people think we're stealing their ideas, we're not. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about movies we've seen recently, maybe some of our favorite movies. Dive into that. The movie I chose to look some reviews at was St. Elmo's Fire because I rewatched it this week and I watched it last week. Okay, you can call me crazy. Um, I found some good stuff there. Also rewatched The Mandalorian this week with my brother. So that's what we watched this week. That's usually what we did here. None of that anymore. This is the new thing. Evan, would you like to start?
Well, I'd like to start with I_Z's review of Jaws. Now, this review may contain spoilers, so please watch out. Spoilers for recent summer blockbuster Jaws. I_Z says Jaws is a whale of a time.
Oh, is that it?
Yes, it is.
Any other reviews, or should we trade off?
Let's trade off. You go.
All right. So Evan chose different movies. I chose all from the same one because St. Elmo's Fire is under a little bit of fire. If you look at their Letterboxd page, people don't love it. People do love it. I like it. I like 80s movies. I did not write the username of these posts, so you can dig for them if you want. I apologize if whoever wrote this finds us somehow and complains. So this one says, "What a bunch of useless, annoying, spoiled brats. They learn nothing. They are no better than they were at the start. No character has an interesting arc. I am having a hard time figuring out why we have a story about 7 annoying characters that just get worse. Not to say I did not enjoy the movie. There is a lot to like, just not the characters. I laughed quite a bit, and the soundtrack was awesome. The look, the style of the 80s DC, and the people was great fun to watch. But this is not a good film. The writing is terrible, the characters are awful, and that ruins the film. So they start off bad, they pick a bone with the film, then they say, you know what, it's actually good. Then they end with, this movie is terrible. Good job. Really, really took both sides there, like we did with the Gina Carano story.
Exactly. I'm glad to see some bipartisan hate for
Yeah.
from people who like it and people who don't. Apparently, both
Mm-hmm.
seem to come up with a consensus. How many stars did they leave?
I also did not write that down. For future reference, I will start doing that. But I was up late last night finding these. Go ahead, Evan, with your review.
Um, Review from Eric Shiska, uh,
Mhm.
Wonder Woman 1984. More like Gal Gadot. So we went in opposite directions
We
for
did go in opposite directions.
our...
I okay. The one I'm gonna end with is more the direction you went. But I think this is a good dynamic nonetheless. Um, so this one, this one might be my favorite one. This is still seeing Elmo's Fire. I'm sorry I obsessed over this movie, but I thought the letterbox content on there was too good to not share. So this one says, excruciatingly boring emotional drama about a group of friends who all seem to hate each other and want to love each other at the same time. Emilio Estevez's character was the only one who actually had an entertaining storyline. The rest of the characters were tolerable, except Rob Lowe and Demi Moore. Holy crap, I hated both of them. Another review called this a horrendous relic of the 80s. I have to agree. And the awful score of this movie is another thing I'm glad we left behind. I hope to never experience this level of sappiness and emotional overcomplexity in my own relationships. So you may think this is just someone who disliked this movie. Why I'm sharing this is because they say Emilio Estevez's character was the only one who actually had an entertaining storyline. If you're unfamiliar with this movie, Emilio Estevez stalks someone the whole movie, drives like 3 hours to go find them at like a ski lodge, and just like is a creep the whole movie. He's the worst one. I mean, you can complain about the characters being bad. That's never been an issue with me. Yeah, they're bad people. But I just thought this was of all the bad takes, this might have been the most interesting to me.
I am less familiar with St. Elmo's Fire.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen it, but I've seen it like I wasn't in a good place to remember it when I saw it. As in, like I
Okay.
watched it while I was doing other stuff, and then I came back and like it was over, and I was like, "Oh, cool. Well, I've seen it," even though knowing consciously that I haven't really seen it.
Yeah. It's on
But
Prime Video, so
oh wow. Oh,
yeah.
hey.
If
I
anyone,
will say I always love it when I'm reading reviews of movies and people are like, "Oh wow, the characters are complex. They're not just good or bad. That means the movie's awful." Like, what? No. That means it's
yeah,
good.
yeah, I completely agree. Evan, how many do you have? Any more?
I have one final review
I also have one more. Okay.
from Lunch Enjoyer
Mm-hmm.
for from Lunch
I think we could.
Enjoyer
Yeah.
from for Abel Ferreira's 1992 crime classic, Bad Lieutenant. He says, "This is one of the worst lieutenants of all time."
Hence the name, maybe.
Now, listen, I don't know about you, but these are all the best reviews I've seen on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
If you're on Letterboxd and this probably makes me a hypocrite because I've been guilty of this several times,
Mm-hmm.
but the more paragraphs your Letterboxd
Oh yeah.
reviews has is inversely proportional to how insightful it is.
I saw someone write a full outline for St. Elmo's Fire on how like flawed each character is, and they went character by character, and I was gonna share that one, but then I was just, like, no, that person has probably endured enough sadness if that's what they're doing with their time.
See, it depends for me. It depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm just ready to like write an essay,
Yeah.
or if I'm ready to write like a long write up about a movie, like if I really liked it, I'll be like, oh yeah, this was really good. I very rarely will write that much about a movie I don't like unless I'm having fun with it. So check out my Wonder Woman 1984 review for
Yeah.
that. But otherwise, keep your letterboxd reviews short and concise, or
Yes.
make them funny, or make them interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Self-plug for my review, of course. I recently left a review of the Zapruder film. I said it was mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I imagine someone else has made that joke before.
Mm-hmm. I would
Don't
imagine.
tell me.
Okay.
Don't tell me if they have.
Okay, I won't.
I can only take so much suffering.
Yes. Can't we all? All right, so this is the last one I would like to share. Same movie. I'm sorry, I'll diversify it more next week if you care at all. Or if you don't, here it is. There's a quote in this movie, and this review referenced it, and it says, "This movie asks some timeless questions, like, do you still like Woody Allen movies?"